Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors Tim and Julie Harris. This is the #1 daily radio show for realtors looking for a no BS, authentic real-time coaching experience. What's really working in today's market, how to generate more leads, make more money, and have more time for what you love in your life. And now, your hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
Welcome back. It's Tim and Julie Harris, and this is your favorite daily real estate training and coaching podcast. We've got a really fun show for all of you today. NLP, mindset gurus in the age of sales snake oil. Now, this is going to be a podcast that is going to be near and dear to our hearts because Julie and I have been rallying against all of these things for the last 30 years because we've seen the largely detrimental effect they've had on people's potential, which is the antithesis, the exact opposite of what a lot of people believe the mindset movement was supposed to be about. Now, again, this is going to be information that some of you might not receive as intended. So we're going to do our best to take the edge off so you can be a little bit more, I think, well-rounded in when you're planning on listening to, say, for example, Tony Robbins. We love Tony Robbins, but as you are about to learn, most of what he's teaching is NLP, and we're going to tell you what NLP is and all the rest of it. Again, have your mind open to what we're sharing with you because our intent is to shorten your learning curve. Our intent is to make your path upward easier, not harder. Our intent is to demystify becoming successful, whereas a lot of these snake oil salesman gurus, all they want to do is basically make it seem like you have to have some sort of secret. You remember The Secret? They are wanting to make it so that you have to go to their 14 seminars and buy their 27 books and attend their walking on, fire and all the rest of it. So somehow magically the success gods will decide to sprinkle a little bit of success down on you. Well, the good news is a lot of that stuff is complete BS. And the even better news is that once you maybe have your mind open to the fact that it is BS, you can, again, as I said, shorten your learning curve. What are you thinking, Julie?
Well, I think some of this is just kind of sorting it out for them. We're not necessarily saying it's 100% full of, garbage, but we're trying to help you decide where to put it into your psyche so that you don't take it so seriously that you think that there's something wrong with you. And I think that we'll get into that as we have this discussion. We need to first define it for them a little bit. So sure. We can jump in if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're going to want our notes from today's show, especially if you're exploring the real truth here in a second. And, you're going to get the notes easily from subscribing to our newsletter. Just go to harrisrealestatedaily.com. The link is down below in the show description, harrisrealestatedaily.com. Julie and I are writing a lot of articles that are not featured, topics that we find interesting, that we know you'll find interesting, but they're not really appropriate for a podcast. So those are the articles and whatnot that we put into the newsletter. Newsletter is completely free for you. So just go to harrisrealestatedaily.com and hopefully you enjoyed this adventure or this sojourn down a very murky path to the truth. How about that, Julie?
Great intro. Yes. And also the newsletter is great because oftentimes we don't get to everything in the newsletter. And if you want to do a deep dive, that's the best way to do it.
Let me tee them up. So how did we originally start discovering that a lot of this mindset stuff is just complete snake oil? And I'll tell you exactly how. When Julie and I were writing our book, Harris Rules, and this was took 3 years. It got published in 2019, but we'd been writing it for at least 3 years prior to that. Well, we had done a whole bunch of research on this whole mindset movement thing because we saw it take over with The Secret in the real estate space and the negative ramifications, what happened to a lot of agents' lives as a result of believing it whole hog, where, some of them are still recovering. And again, I know I'm sounding dramatic, but you're going to understand here in a second. So we actually went and started exploring a lot of the things. There was no organized place that had ever, or no website that had ever done sort of debunking of the whole mindset thing. So we had to do a lot of the research ourselves. And when we went to Esalen in Central California, we went to different places in, Sonoma and all these different places where they'd been the Laguna Beach, where Timothy Leary was experimenting with acid. I'm telling you guys, we went way down the rabbit hole because we wanted to understand the history of all this mindset stuff. And what we discovered was shocking, to be honest with you. What we discovered was really scary in a lot of ways. And again, I don't want to tip my hat to any of our future points, but I think you'll really understand. Julie is apprehensive about this topic because she doesn't want us to receive a lot of bad
Arrows.
reviews and comments. Right. Well, it's because there's so many people here. I'll tell you guys something funny. Anyway, we wrote our book. We submitted this as a whole section in the book, and the publisher wouldn't publish it. So this particular section they made us take out because they knew it'd be too controversial, even though the research was really, I think, well-founded and thorough. And to this day, it's only gotten more thorough as we've explored this even more. And frankly, as more people have been exploring what this whole mindset movement was all about. And just to get an idea of how big the mindset movement space is, go to Barnes and Noble. Hopefully, there's one in your town. And I want you to look to the section where all the mindset books are. And it's just absolutely blow your mind. So, what's bigger, the mindset section or the business section, the mindset section or the religion section, the mindset, the column of books, they're all about mindset or computers.
They're not, and just for those of you who are going to actually do what Tim asked you to do, walk into Barnes and Noble and look for this, it's not going to say mindset, it's going to say self-improvement or something like that. And it's not going to be just a section, it'll be like practically a whole room.
That's what I'm trying to say to you guys. The amount of people, the number of people, thank you for correcting me. It is self-improvement. That's the category. But the amount of people that make fortunes off self-improvement gurus is extraordinary. So mindset is where it originally got started. That's the term. And then it rolled into, this whole self-improvement thing. And now it's morphing into something else. Why is this timely? Because a lot of you are gearing up to have your best years ever in real estate. And you got to be very, very careful what path you choose to go down. And, again, the whole point of this is just to demystify it. All right, so I'm going to read the first section, Julie. If you've been in real estate longer than it takes to print a business card, you've already been targeted by the mindset mafia. Oh, you edited the script. Very good. The NLP gurus, the manifestation coaches, the subconscious healers, the quantum closers who promise one thing every salesman secretly wishes existed, a shortcut, an easy button, right? That is what they're selling, by the way. You guys who've been listening to us for years and years, you can see why this would not be something that vibes with us. They sell the dream that your thoughts create listings, your energy replaces skill, and your subconscious mind is the real reason why you're not hitting your goals. Before we go any further, let's define the buzzword floating around nearly every pitch. And it is worth mentioning here that a lot of the branding stuff is in the same bucket overall, in the same circus tent as all the self-improvement stuff. The mindset stuff, the self-improvement stuff, and the branding stuff are all kind of in the same guise where it's the easy button. They're trying to sell you into an idea that there's, again, some decoder ring that you have to have, that once you have the decoder ring, everything it makes sense and you just follow that path and you never actually have to do what you don't want to do and you don't want to do it at the highest level. Jules, you want to read the next section?
Well, so let's define what the term that we've been throwing around, NLP, which stands for neuro linguistic programming. And it was actually created in the 1970s. It claims that you can reprogram your brain and influence others using specific language patterns and mental frameworks. You're going to hear it marketed as persuasion code or unlocking your performance or elite agent advantage. There's lots of different people who have hijacked the term and kind of messed with it, but it's all this NLP. And that does sound impressive and also scientifically shaky, though, wildly overhyped and aggressively sold by people who have never closed even 20 transactions in a year. So our first official point, that's all kind of our intro. What is NLP actually? And I have the short version here. Neurolinguistic programming claims, again, that you can reprogram your thoughts, that you can even reprogram other people using really specific linguistic or language patterns and internal mapping. Sold as a persuasion superpower, a productivity breakthrough, a psychological unlock, as you said, Tim, an easy button, an elite agent secret, even using that word secret. And it's probably a few of them haven't heard of the secret. You guys can Google that because that's also referring to something very specific
but Julie,
as a movement. Go ahead.
Make sure we expand on this a bit because really we're talking about NLP because NLP is one of the things that's taught in the whole self-improvement genre. But what happens is NLP is a little bit too obtuse of a term. It stands for, Julie?
Neuro-linguistic programming.
Okay.
That's why they call it NLP. It's too hard to say.
Right.
Yeah.
So what happens is a lot of these guys, what they're doing and gals, they're teaching NLP stuff and they're not calling it that. Tony Robbins doesn't call it NLP. If you dig deep into Tony Robbins' stuff that he wrote back in the 80s, he actually does call it NLP, but the newer stuff, he never calls it that. One of Tony Robbins' coaches messaged me maybe 2 weeks ago wanted to be on our podcast. He had a new product and whatever. And I asked him, well, is it NLP? And he said, yes. And I said, well, that's just not our space. And he didn't know us very well to think that that would be something we'd be interested in. But again, what they're trying to do is they're trying to teach you guys pseudoscience. And what pseudoscience is the not so nice way of saying it. It's just fake science. It's mystical witchcraft. That's all it really truly is. Hell, witchcraft is probably
Science shouldn't even be in the, yeah, it's not, the word science shouldn't even be in the same sentence because
right.
it's not the same as like math or something that's concrete. All of those, they used to call them soft sciences, psychology, stuff like that. This is in that genre.
No, psychology is real. This is not real. Pseudoscience is not. Psychology is real,
Maybe
recognized by the,
psychiatry.
yeah, it's psychology and all that type of thing is real, but it's something that's recognized that people can go and get medical help with. But there is no pseudoscience is stuff that's unprovable. Psychology is provable, right?
Right. Like, how could you prove that NLP works? That's part of the problem.
You can't. I mean, it's just mystical garbage is all it really truly is. Number two, what science actually says. NLP is a dietary supplement aisle of communication. Decades of research show weak or non-existent evidence of its claims. No support of the idea that eye movements reveal the inner truth. No proof that subconscious or reprogramming by certain phrases. No evidence that NLP outperforms normal communication training. Academics often call NLP pseudoscience, as we previously had said. In plain English, it's not magic, it's marketing. And okay, so let's think about this. I want to sell you guys a product. I want to sell you that I have some information and knowledge that you want in order for you to be successful. You guys are you see this everywhere. So I'm going to talk in mystical terms. I'm going to talk as if I knew things that you don't know. In other words, I'm going to make it sound like success is more than just doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level. That's what I'm going to do. And you hear, I was watching the Sean podcast the other day, the guy that was the ex-Navy SEAL, Julie. And he had this guy in that had done it, that was talking in nothing but NLP phrases, and I recognized it right away. And that's basically what his whole game was. He was teaching NLP without calling it NLP. He had written a book, and I used AI to do some search on it, and nowhere in his book did he say he was essentially relabeling and rebranding NLP. By the way, again, get ready. I'm about to tell you something that some of you will be a little slightly offended by. DISC personality styles. They're also in this same circus tent of pseudoscience. All of this stuff is the antithesis of really what it takes. Can you imagine showing up to become a Navy SEAL and you're going to BUDS training? And what is that all about? Wearing down your psychology, wearing down your physicality, finding out what your mental toughness. It's not just your ability to do things physically. It's your ability to basically withstand long terms of pressure that are unusual, right? So you think any manifestation is going to cause somebody to live through that? No, they have to literally do what they don't want to do, and they don't want to do it at the highest level. And I'm also going to suggest this to you if you want to validate what I'm telling you. You think of something that you've done in your life that was really, really freaking hard to do. Did you manifest it? No, you actually did the work. You practiced. You went to football practice, or you practiced the violin. You won the spelling bee. You did the real work. It didn't just show up to you through some sort of mystical haze. And I'm doing my best to make this as plainly spoken and clear as possible, because that's really what I'm hoping all of you take away from this, is that success is not some sort of, again, mystical thing that you have to read a bunch of books and go to a bunch of seminars for. This stuff goes in and out of popularity. Someone asked me when I was actually at the gym, and they're asking me, I was telling them about this topic. We were talking about, he had said something. He was a very religious person, a Christian, and he had said something without realizing, it was Bodhi Julie, without realizing that it was a NLP mindset, self-improvement type, and I asked him why he said what he just did. And he told me about some seminar he went to, the whole thing. And then I said, well, have you ever thought about where that comes from? And he did not know. So here's something that's really freaky. Again, we researched this years ago for our book, and our publishers wouldn't let us publish it. But the whole mindset movement, this whole space got started in really in earnest in the 1920s in seances that started in England, seances, as in people are sitting around a table and they're trying to conjure up spirits.
Conjuring. Yeah.
Yes, conjuring. And then it manifested into what it is today. And if you look at the timeline of it, it's gone from being really social, people are really interested in it, and then it drops off. Really interested in it, drops off. So it's like a short-term trend that keeps on bubbling up, but every time it bubbles up, it comes under a different name. And usually, obviously different,
Well, I mean, book titles, you just look up the book titles, The Secret Language of Sales, things
right.
like that.
Well, The Secret itself, you guys remember that? That was just
Yeah.
nothing other than what we're describing now. And how many people do you know? Well, again, I'm going to tell you guys another story. So Julie and I were full-time active coaches then. We were doing 60 to 70 coaching calls per week each. That's a lot of coaching. And I remember when The Secret hit, it was 2000 and I don't remember what year, Julie. Do you remember? It was before the
Or
real estate
three, I
crash.
want to say,
No, it was
maybe.
like 2003, 2004, somewhere
Yeah.
in there. It was before the real estate market crashed, right?
Yeah.
It was a
Mhm.
luxury belief, right? People thought, they're making a lot of money and they didn't really understand why. They didn't understand the fact that people were just buying real estate because of FOMO. And so they
Yeah.
started to think it was because they're manifesting and all the rest of it. I had a lot of really good coaching clients, people that were doing what they didn't want to do and they didn't want to do it at the highest level, that were making really tons of money helping, thousands and thousands of people. And they got sucked into The Secret. Oh, I no longer have to work hard. I no longer have to make my contacts. I no longer
I'm
have
going to
to.
take a break and work on my mindset.
And that's what they did. And all across, especially California, there were
Yep.
seminars that crept up. There were people going to meditation retreats. I want you to think about that. And Julie and I laugh at this, but it's such a great idea. What an easier way to make money than doing a meditation retreat, right? People pay, let's say, $1,000. They show up at probably some big ass room in some coastal city in California, and it's a meditation retreat. What are you not doing in a meditation retreat? You're not talking. You're just sitting there.
Content free. You don't have to write anything.
Right. So as somebody who used to put on a lot of events, a meditation
Oh,
retreat would be the perfect hack. You do it,
brilliant.
everyone can show up. You do 15 minutes in the morning and people just sit there for 3 hours or whatever, and they just
I don't
meditate.
think you even have to feed your attendees or anything.
And they're buying t-shirts on break and stuff, right?
And you don't want to give them coffee because they won't calm down and sit still.
Exactly. Well, anyway, so we're trying to have some fun with you guys, but hopefully you appreciate it. So why do sales gurus, the fakey dudes, the steak and oil salesmen, love the NLP? If we haven't made that point yet, Julie's about to.
Well, it does give them something expensive to sell and something you can't quite put your finger on. NLP takes basic human communication skills, listening, tone, posture, asking good questions, but it repackages them as secret codes or frameworks or patterns or elite persuasion systems. And it's easy for you to think, God, if I only had that. I've got some good basic sales skills, but if I could just get this extra special sauce on top, there must be something to it. It's branding, though. It's not breakthrough. And the only thing really being programmed is your credit card, because isn't that easy to say yes to? That's why it's called self-improvement. It's easy to market that. Who doesn't want to improve themselves? How can you say no to that, right? But it's because they're taking something basic that you're right on the edge of knowing, and then they're repackaging it for you. And it's a fairly easy sale. Some of their products are pretty expensive too. So we could go
Well,
on, but I think we've made that point.
the more affluent and successful you become, the more apt you are to be a sucker to this kind of, garbage because you have the money to spend. When you're
That's
getting
right. And I have to say, sorry to interrupt you, but I think that the more successful agents, the ones running teams, the ones that have been in business a long time, that are a little bit bored, are a bit more susceptible to this because what you said, they have the money to pay for this type of thing. Number two, they probably feel like they need a break and want to take a breath because they've been on the hamster wheel a while. And number three, they're always, when you've done a lot of repetitious boredom, even when it's working for you, it's easy to get bored. And boredom is the enemy of success. This is a great place for that to attack you is, oh, I must need this just to get to that next level. Does that make
Well,
sense?
yeah, totally. Well, I remember when the mirror and matching thing was real popular back in the
Oh my
early
gosh.
2000s, and again, some of you have been around for this long, you'll know what I'm talking about. So the whole thing was you're not successful because you're not mirroring and matching. NLP crap, you're not mirroring and matching the people you're around you, the people you're talking to. And I mean, literally, the person you're talking to crosses their arms, you cross your arm. They tilt their head, you tilt the head. I mean, it is
It's
insane.
taken so too far, though.
Well, so what happened was people were saying, well, the reason I'm not accomplishing X or the reason I'm not, doing what I wanted to do with my life whatever, is because I haven't learned this secret skill. And finally, once I master all of this mindset stuff, once I master all the self-improvement stuff, then on the other side of that is everything I've been looking for. When I'm telling you guys 100% of the time, and you know this because intuitively it just makes sense, is that everything you want in life is on the other side of doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level. And here's the unfortunate truth, but it is the truth. All the biggest things, pretty much everything meaningful in your life that you really truly want to have, that you dream of having, maybe you already do, go you, it's going to take usually 5 to 10 times longer than you think it should. So maybe you've been watching a lot of Instagram, or maybe you've been influenced by influencers into thinking there's such a thing as an overnight success. Well, there's an overnight success for them selling you into the belief that there's an ability to have overnight success. Get it? The reality of it is long term, it's all about doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest level. There are no shortcuts. And the more time you waste looking for shortcuts is the less time you're going to have actually being in service to other people, getting better at your skill set. And that's really, truly what matters. And hopefully you guys are starting to, again, see my point. You don't have to learn mirroring and matching. You don't have to learn personality styles. You don't have to learn all these other mindset self-improvement things. You don't have to have any of those things. You just have to be locked into the fact that your highest and truest purpose on this planet is to be of service to other people. That melts the ego away, by the way, just thinking that to yourself. It's not about me. It's not about trying to make myself seem famous or not trying to build my brand. It's about how do I help other people? That kind of unplugs a lot of the ego stuff, doesn't it? And then I accept the fact that everything I want in life is on the other side of doing what I don't want to do when I don't want to do it at the highest level for long ass periods of time, longer than anyone's ever told me before. And the reason they haven't told you how long it actually takes to accomplish anything meaningful is because they've never accomplished anything meaningful in their lives. So they actually don't know. What do you think of Jules?
I was thinking about that, and that the thing about the secret movement, because if we're honest, it really was kind of a movement because it was
Totally.
very, very prevalent at the time. What they were good at was the marketing.
Totally.
And so I mean, we can talk on and on about that. I think we've covered a lot of that. The point number 4, the mindset movement, the rush of no skill coaching. Well, why again are people susceptible to it? Because they're talking about success isn't what you do, it's about what you think. So I want to bring our conversation to the whole, if you just think about it hard enough, that success will come. So because these things are intertwined. We talked a lot about the language, and a lot of the language stuff of NLP is kind of manipulative. If you just like say the same words that somebody else uses, that is pretty manipulative, or at least it's trying to be. But there's also this element, and we're going to talk about, I think, point number 4 and 5
Can I interject something? Sorry for interrupting you. The word manipulative by itself is not a bad word or not a bad phrase. If your parents, Julie and I have parents of an almost 12-year-old, I promise you that we have to manipulate her constantly. So manipulation by
for our
itself,
own good. Yeah.
right, for her own good is not a bad thing. And in learning sales skills or learning what to say, all you're really doing is learning how to ask questions. That's all sales really is. It's asking questions to help the person co-create what their goal is, sell a house, buy a house, and then ask questions to help them work through the mental, emotional, and sometimes financial obstacles that are standing in the way of their accomplishing their goal. That's what real sales is. And all this other mystical crap, as Julius just said, is being taught by people that are trying to intentionally make it so it seems way more complicated than it actually is, so they can sell you something. Go to Barnes and Noble and you'll see what I'm talking about. This whole self-improvement space is a multi-billion dollar a year industry. It just is. When I was talking with Bodie at the gym, after I got to explain to him how much research Jules and I had done on this topic over the years, the whole mindset movement, self-improvement space thing, it just occurred to me how much richer we would have been if we had just basically sold this crap years ago, but we couldn't do it. We just wouldn't do it because we knew what it was.
Well, it's unethical ultimately, I think.
Ultimately, that's the truth. Well, it's unethical. I want to give the people that are schlepping this garbage, a little bit of a hall pass because they might not know that it's fake. They might actually believe.
Well, that's true. That's true because maybe, they haven't, had to list a house before for a living.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, and I think that there are elements of it that are good, right? So if we go back to mirroring and matching, and some of the most painful role play, not even role play, like prospecting calls that I've listened to as a coach are when somebody's just come out of one of these things and they're like overdoing the mirroring and matching. So if I say green eggs and ham, you say green eggs and ham. If I, you use my name 20 times, right? Julie this and Julie that. And it's painful versus what you just said, where real sales skills are listening, asking good questions, and helping your prospect self-discover what is best for them, right? So it can kind of sound similar, but what you're really doing with scripting is not the same as NLP. Scripting is asking great questions. So what they will try and convince you of is if you're not as successful as you want to be, your mindset must be broken. There must be something wrong with your head.
They all
Maybe
say
you're not
that.
thinking about it right.
The first thing you're supposed to do is work on your mindset. That's the first thing how do you know when your mindset's good? How do you actually know?
And also, by the way, to
It's
point
never
number 4,
good.
it's very lazy coaching, I have to say.
You're going to work
because
on
what's the easiest thing in the world? Let's discover what's holding you back.
let's work on your mindset. Oh, we got to make your vision boards. If you guys are offended, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to offend you. I'm just trying to demystify what it takes to be successful truly long term. It's simple things. It's running a profitable business. It's understanding compounding interest. It's focusing on what's, the fact that your highest and truest purpose on this planet is being of service to other people. This whole narcissistic, inward, navel-gazing garbage that really essentially started to really blossom in the 1960s and 70s is the antithesis of what it truly takes to make somebody successful, let alone content and happy long term, because you're out of alignment with your highest and truest purpose when you're just living and breathing this stuff constantly. You are living in the clouds. You are detached from reality. It's all about your feelings, your thing. The world revolves around you, and not everyone gets to the point where they realize that it's not about you. It's about, and when you're in sales or in life in general, it's about how you can help other people. Okay, so if my goal is to be of service to other people as a real estate practitioner, how am I going to do that? How am I going to earn the right to be of service to them? I have to be able to solve their problem. And I promise you, there's no amount of mirroring and matching and branding that's going to help solve other people's problems. That's just, again, the navel gazing again. Wash, rinse, repeat, infinitum until you're out of money.
That is what happens.
Yep.
If you work on your mindset long enough, you will run out of money, which will, not help your mindset. Okay, so let's talk about the manifestation lie. There's slogans like visualize your closings and they'll come. You're just not thinking about it hard enough. You need to write it down a few more, 100 times. The universe will respond to your vibration. You don't have a lead problem. You have a mindset problem. You're blocked. You need a breakthrough. All of this kind of stuff, which can translate to you just need to work on your mindset, buy my mindset course, read the next book. But they're selling thoughts, they're selling vibes, they're selling the universe, okay? None of that is something that you can prove or is tangible in terms of what reality is. That's your action, your skills, your consistency, and your success, right? So when you have actual skill, you can lather, rinse, repeat. You can have repeatable and duplicatable success. If you're just thinking, I got to have 5 listings, I need my magic number of listings, I'm going to think about it a little bit longer. Tim, I can't go to the office today because I just got to think about this a little bit more. I'm going to spend 2 hours meditating on it because I know if I just work on this harder, I'm going to wake up to enough leads that I can get to my magic number.
They literally think that if they think about it, like Julie's describing, and some of you might think this too, mystical thinking will make you broke 100% of the time, that if you think about it, you manifest it, the universe somehow is going to deliver on a platter everything you want to have. So The Secret's Failing. It was such incredible marketing. If you guys remember that book and the movie, unbelievable.
Brilliant marketing. Yeah.
Just to this day, it's still epic. Well, what happened to The Secret? What happened to all the people that the secret teachers or whatever they called themselves? What did happen to them? If you want to really go down that rabbit hole, do some little AI research and find out whatever happened to all this. Some of them went to jail. A lot of them failed. A lot of them sued each other at the end of this, because evidently the royalties that they were supposed to get didn't just manifest. They had to sue the other person to get it.
Couldn't they have thought about it harder and made that problem go away?
Research all this. You guys will kind of laugh at it and you'll realize where Julie and I are coming from with all this. We're trying to make it easy on you, not harder. By the way, we are going to be doing a few more masterminds this year. And if you want to join us for the mastermind, we are going to be focusing on the 3 biggest challenges that agents are having in 2026. set aside about 2 hours, and the mastermind is going to, again, be chock full of ideas, chock full of specific actionable things. So make sure you attend the mastermind. The link is below, or you can just go to harrismastermind.com and you can choose your day and time. This is our way of saying are these continuous masterminds. It's taking a lot of time, a lot of effort, but honestly, it's our honor to be of service to all of you, because we know, as a lot of you know, because you're vibing with us, that 2026 is going to be absolutely the start of a long-term real estate boom. So let's start the year off together on the right foot. Go to harrismastermind.com and sign up right away. Oh, it's free. harrismastermind.com. So Julie, why is all this mindset, movement, self-improvement, NLP, mirroring and matching, DISC,
Working on my mindset.
why is all this pseudoscience malarkey dangerous for real estate agents and frankly everyone
Well,
else?
yeah, and you and I have seen this, and it's not just real estate agents, it's people in general. Because if it's not working for you, that can create shame. It really can screw people up. If I'm not succeeding, there must be something really wrong with me. You and I both had coaching clients come to us from somewhere else. There's like, there's something wrong with me.
Well, we were at a Keller Williams. I'll just say it since I already said it. We were at a Keller Williams event, and Julie and I were meeting with, at the time, Bruce Willis, I think. Bruce Willis? No, Mark Willis.
Mark Willis.
Mark Willis, not Bruce Willis. Anyway,
Very different people.
so they were talking to us about working as part of their coaching organization, and we didn't end up doing it. But we walked into some sort of breakout session, and the person was teaching DISC, one of our favorite, most loathsome topics. There's usefulness to it, but it's absolutely being bastardized. And this person was literally on stage with people that were supposed to represent each of the DISC, 1D, 1I, 1S, 1C. Remember, this is all pseudoscience. And of course, the person on stage, the DISC expert, trainer, wherever the hell they call themselves, asked the audience what personality style. Has everyone in the audience taken the test? Yes. Okay. Well, how many of you are D's? Everyone raised their damn hands. A few of them raised their hands when they asked how many of you were I's. No one said C or an S. And I sat, and we were standing in the back of the room watching all of this. And then this arrogant speaker started saying the horribleness of, well, if you're an S type or you're a C type, you're going to struggle to be successful at sales. Well, I'm telling you, from having coached agents, literally had hundreds of thousands of coaching calls, that some of the most successful people are the C's and the S's in real estate, not necessarily the D's and the I's. Again, it doesn't fit into the whole idea of DISC. And so that, Julie,
but your point though, Tim, is that it screws people up thinking on two levels. One, I'm going to convince myself that I'm a D, even though I'm probably not, because there's not that, it's not real science. Okay. I'm going to convince myself I've got to be a D. And if I'm not naturally that way, I must kind of suck as an agent and I'm never going to be successful. And I'm only good in a support role and I better be a transaction coordinator or whatever. Not there's anything wrong with that. That's all fine. But it messes with their heads. Okay. And you're right. Virtually every time we've seen other people present DISC, how many of you are D's? It's like the whole room. You can't all be D's. Okay. You can try to be. And I think it also, from coaching, I think it creates some conflict in transactions where people who are not naturally D's try to act like they are and get all pushy, honestly, and low skilled and all that.
Jules, let's not even give this any more of our energy, frankly, because this whole DISC thing has been, you guys, so again, if you've been in real estate for 20 years or even 10 years, you'll remember when DISC was really popular and now it's not popular again. And you watch as people start making more money from the real estate recovery. Remember, I'm telling you this, you're going to see all these fake gurus come out of the woodwork. They always come out of the woodwork when when agents are making money. You're going to see all the DISC, the mindset. You're going to see meditation retreats. Hell, Julie and I might finally break down and do one. All
come to Puerto Rico.
People only come out of the woodwork, only come out of their caves and come down from their high mounts on Esalen in central California. Rather, I got it eventually. When there's money to be made in the real estate industry, agents are making money again. They're flush with cash. They're going to start teaching all these seminars and doing all these things. This is what happens. It's going to happen again. You've got to remember. Making money in real estate, making money in business, period, is not that difficult. Solve somebody else's problem. And then once you figure out how to do that really good, solve a lot of people's problems. And then maintain a business with high margins, which you can as a real estate practitioner. Take that money off the table. Don't just always reinvest it in your business. And then put that into the S&P 500. Buy things that are going to make you rich which is where your money works for you, no longer have to work for your money. That is the greatest gift that you will ever be able to give to yourself. Anybody in their 40s on up is 100% agreeing with what I'm saying right now, because all of them wish they would have done more of it. I wish we would have done more of that, and we would have, frankly, not wasted money on some of the business things that we have over the years. What are you thinking, Jules?
Well, I think that we need to have a good conclusion to this because I don't want to seem like we've been overly negative. We've just been trying to open their eyes to what this is and what it isn't. So, point number 7, real talk. Mindset does matter, but not in terms of manifesting things and working on it, at the expense of real work. Okay. So, mindset works because it helps you show up and have daily minimum standards, sticking to your routine. That requires a strong mindset, being consistent, managing your stress, avoiding burnout, being coachable, and staying optimistic. Yes, of course, your mindset is important, but not in terms of working on that exclusively at the detriment of everything else. Because guess what? As we said earlier, you do that too long, your mindset's going to be in the toilet because you're going to make yourself broke.
So I'm going to skip the next 3 points, guys. You can get these when you get our notes, and they're really great points. But for the sake of brevity, we've already too late for that, right? Sure. We're almost at an hour. So we're going to talk about what actually works. That's point 8. Point 9 is red flags in NLP and mindset coaching. You definitely want to get that. Point 10 is what is worth focusing on. And then our conclusion. So we're going to read this conclusion to you. You cannot think your way to 20 listings. You cannot manifest your way to financial freedom. You cannot vibrate your way into a better year. Mindset and NLP aren't evil. That's Julie's edit from what I wrote, but that's okay. They're just over-marketed shortcuts sold to substitutes for real work. And here's the actual formula that builds real estate careers. Show up, do the work, track your numbers, improve a little every day, repeat. It's not mystical. It's not magical. It's not a secret. It's just the truth. And the best part, it actually works. And I'll even give you even the better part. All of you can do it. You're not too old. You're not too young. You're not too dumb. You're not too smart. You're not too pretty. You're not too ugly. You're not too anything. The wind is going to 100% be at your backs going to 2026. There already is. I'm going to leave on this one final note. And Julie and I researched this. We started selling. We did our first real estate transaction. We were in our early 20s. And the entire time we've been in the real estate business, I don't remember a single time where the national market has increased sales going into the winter, snowbird states aside, right? Not a single time. The market is up 15% going into the end of the year. I want you guys to think about what that's going to be laying the groundwork for 2026. Something absolutely magical is about to happen. Don't let it get by you because you're spending too much time working on your mindset and going to retreats and doing mirroring and matching and NLP. And watch how all these goons come out of the woodwork trying to separate you from your money. Don't make success hard. Stop trying to make things so damn difficult. You don't need to have the perfect brand. You don't have to have a bunch of social media. Social media is about to become completely ubiquitous because of AI. You don't have to do all those things. You just have to start primarily focusing on your highest and truest purpose on this planet, which is being of service to other people. And then intentionally, every single day, get off your ass, get away from your keyboard, and go out and have meaningful conversations with people that already have told you that they want to buy or sell real estate. It's not hard. Why doesn't everyone tell you this? Because they don't know how to train you to do what we just said, because they're too busy trying to teach you DISC. I cannot make it any more practical and truthful than that. You want to close, Jules, or is that good?
Well, the best cure to your mindset is to get into action. Keep yourself in the mindset of helping others and being of service to others and not making it about yourself. Asking great questions so that you have the ability to help them solve their real estate challenge, whatever that might be. That's the best cure to your mindset. And I couldn't let it slide, Tim. I have to quote our great broker, Rory Averill. Want to fix your mindset? Go take a new listing.
Amen. And that's it. That's the secret. That's the secret.
There you go.
You want to feel better about life in general? Go take a listing, and have a closing. Have a great day. We'll talk to you on the show tomorrow. Hello. Thank you for having watched this video. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right. And don't forget to hit that like button, leave your comments and questions below, and we will get right back with you.
Thank you for watching this video. And remember to watch the next one. You're going to love that one.